pledge allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we will continue with the oath of office for Martha Sandelman.
Go ahead and stand up and raise your right hand. And repeat after me. I, Martha Sandelman,
I, Martha Sandelman,
do solemnly swear and affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
to support the Constitution of the United States,
to support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and to discharge faithfully the duties of the office
and to discharge faithfully the duties of the office
of Counselor for the City of Winthrop,
of Counselor for the City of Winthrop,
to the best of my judgment and ability.
to the best of my judgment and ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Welcome.
All right, we will move on to the next item on the agenda, the open public forum. Anybody like to address the council? Anyone? All right, then we shall move on to approval of the agenda. Does anybody have anything to add to the agenda?
I do not.
Nope. Jenny, Ed, Dawn, Martha, yeah. Michael, got anything to add?
We do want to just add an informational item about the library phone price for the RS Fiber. And then an additional one that we found out yesterday about our billing for the ambulance service. So those will be items 6.9 and 6.10. They'll just be informational at the end.
Okay. If there's nothing else to add, somebody like to move to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Jenny, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Dawn. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. All right, we have our agenda. Consent agenda. Does anybody have any questions about anything on the consent agenda? Approval of the minutes, financials, and minor sewer adjustments.
I, want to just reiterate the sewer adjustments. So we're finding these really early on before they become large problems. We have another 3 of them for next month already. And they're being found because of our new system. So they're finding the water leaks when they're happening. So within sometimes hours, within a day, we're finding the leaks, letting the people know. One was a water heater, one was a toilet flap. Sometimes they're really minor, but they do detect the leaks and the system is working. So.
That's great.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Motion by Ed. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jenny. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Public hearings. We have a public hearing on changes to the City Code Chapter 2 on operations and administration or administrative.
Yeah, and this is a second reading of the ordinance. Again, the changes were the change to the committees, which we pared from 6 down to 3. They were essentially the same committees with the same people anyway. So we did change that. We also changed the meeting days back to the first Monday of every month when we changed it to the 4th quite a while ago. The rest of it was kept the same except the order of established agenda. We did take off, again, the public open forum. You can still get on the agenda. We just request that you communicate that to the city clerk or myself beforehand. And then the rest remains the same after that. So just small updates.
Okay. And I just wanted to clarify for everybody again, I think all of you probably know that because of the first reading, but dropping the public forum doesn't take away the opportunity for the public to address the council. It actually lets us be more proactive and on top of things. Previously, we'd have to listen to someone's question or concern or proposal And then it would have to wait until at least the next meeting before we could discuss it. So this way, if we have it on the agenda ahead of time, we can act more quickly and efficiently. All right, so, second reading, do we need a motion, or we just?
You'd open the public hearing and then close it.
Okay.
So I have a question about that, and I apologize if I'm
No,
not
it's
following
okay.
Robert's Rules of Order yet or anything, but, so with the, doing away with the open forum, or the
public forum.
public forum in the beginning, when I was outdoor knocking a lot, people, if somebody had an issue and they just kind of wanted to address it right away and they didn't have the 3 days in order, you know, to get on the agenda. I guess I'm asking if it's a done deal, if the public forum is already like gone by the wayside. Like if tonight was the last opportunity for the public forum.
As we know it
As we
before,
know.
yep.
Okay, okay,
And, you know, on balance, you're right, there might be somebody who says on a Monday morning, oh, wow, I really wanna bring it up to council, but we couldn't, we would sit here and listen
Right.
and
Mhm.
not be able to do anything until, if it was tonight, until February's meeting.
right,
So, in this, so they'd be in the same boat as if they waited until 3 days before, or whatever amount of time before the February meeting, came to us on the agenda and presented their question or concern then.
And chapter 2 also gives us the ability to add agenda items that night as well.
True.
As long as it's unanimously consented
Oh,
that the
okay.
agenda changes, they can add items. So if something's really that urgent too, city
Right.
council could also call an emergency city council meeting. So there's other ways to deal with it.
okay,
Yeah.
good.
And do that, they could come up here and get on the agenda?
Absolutely.
Or
It's
would
up
they
to
contact
council.
one of us and say, can you get me on the
Mhm.
agenda?
It's up to council
Okay.
to approve the agenda.
All right.
And I would say residents could bring something to, it most easily should go to the clerk or the administrator.
Yeah.
A request to be on the agenda. They could bring it to one of us and we could
Yeah.
forward them to you.
The reason that we caution that is because although sometimes we want action, you know, I can remember once in the last 3 years where we put something on the agenda that night of, and this was, we vacated some parking on a street, right? Instead of following the process for planning and zoning and going through the motions, no one on that block was actually notified of that action, and then council took the action to stop parking, and all the residents didn't get to speak about it. So that's why we always caution putting those agenda items on and going forward with them the same night, is because sometimes there's not enough thought put through on the repercussions of what's going on.
Okay, so we need to open the public hearing about this.
Yep.
Someone like to move,
So moved.
is there a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion on opening the public hearing? All those in favor of opening the public hearing, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, all right. So our public hearing is open. If anybody has comment about the proposed changes to the city code chapter 2.
And that will have to do with the public forum?
Yes, yeah, that we just discussed.
It's not vertigo, it's maldebarkment syndrome. I just learned a couple weeks ago. Mark Sandelman, 703 North Hennepin Street. One of the city council representatives up here ran with the phrase, "I'll listen," on her campaign. There was a deliberate reason why she chose that term. The perception amongst a great deal, maybe not even a majority, but a high number of people in this community is that this council doesn't listen. And now, you're taking away an opportunity for people to speak up. Do you know how tone deaf you are? You take away public forum, and then you say, it's so we can listen better. That makes absolutely no sense. We can hear you louder and clearer when you don't speak up. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I think respectfully, I understand where you're coming from, but the previous format, we had to sit here and listen, and on advice of our city attorney,
We have a city
could not-
attorney?
Yes, we do have a city
Where?
attorney.
I haven't seen him in months.
Well, in fairness, that's aside from this, but we do have a very good city attorney. He's also very busy, and so we consult him when we need him. We're lucky to have a good city attorney right now. A lot of cities are struggling and don't have.
It's extremely expensive to have
Yes.
him here also. Okay, I just want to ask, how many cities or schools or whatnot, is there still a lot that have public forums?
The League of Minnesota Cities recommends that cities do not have public open forums.
That's not what I read.
Why is that?
That's not what I read. I was in the League of Minnesota Cities today. You're not required to have an open forum. I saw nothing that said
We're
you
not
shouldn't do it.
So, but back to what you were saying, if, let's say, John Smith approached us tonight, and he had issues with parking on a street. We'd sit here and listen, and we could do absolutely nothing about it. We couldn't even have a conversation back and forth. It would, if there was something legitimate, it would get put on February's agenda. So we couldn't, that pushes it off for a month. This is in essence doing the same thing, except that if John Smith had approached us 3 days before, at least 3 days before this meeting, he could have been on tonight's agenda. So we're hoping to be more active and able to engage with residents.
Make decisions quickly.
Yes.
Yeah,
How-
because John Smith comes to the meeting, and his topic is on the agenda as an action item. It's been researched, the data's been given to us as council members, then we can make that decision that night. Otherwise, if it's the public forum, he sits there and he talks, we look at him like we're not listening, because that's what you say people say we don't do, or we're not listening. So then we sit back and we can't do anything about that topic until
Next month.
next month, when it comes back up on the forum. That makes us look complacent for a month, really. But we can't look at it, we can't discuss it, we can't have any discussion on it, because our city attorney and the League of Minnesota Cities, as I have been told, says that it should not be discussed during that time, because we don't have data on the information.
How many meetings do people actually come up and sit here? I don't think it's every meeting.
I would say in the last year, it's been probably 10 out of 12, 11, I mean,
Yeah.
there's somebody almost every,
Absolutely 10 out of 12.
yeah. Yeah, I'd say.
Okay, that's a good thing, I would think.
I absolutely agree.
Sometimes it's more informational there.
Right, some people just come to listen because they want to know what's going on.
But the fact is, we'll be able to act on the agenda item where we couldn't do anything with it prior to that.
There are people with some frustrations that want to speak to the council.
Yes.
And they
Who-
still
who's-
absolutely should. They
And-
can contact any one of us anytime by email, phone, stop in to visit.
How do they get that information? I don't even know.
On the city website.
Yeah, it's on the city website. We all have our own council emails. You can, you know,
So you've never emailed anybody here?
Nope.
You've
No,
never emailed Michael?
no,
You never ever looked to see where any of the city stuff was?
no, I follow the meetings.
Okay.
When I speak up.
Good.
and that's good. But people can reach out to us. The information is all there on the city website.
So what is worthy of getting on the agenda? I think that's kind of weighing on people too. I can go to them, but they're not gonna let me on.
Well, okay, and here's another thing, you know, when we have a meeting, sometimes we have engineers here, we have other people that we're paying for their time, and we always start with the public forum. So if someone comes with a simple question, let's say about their water bill being a little high, and they take up time during the public forum, that would be a really easy question if they called the city office. Somebody could say, oh, let me check that, maybe it's a leak or something easy to fix, that doesn't need to come to the full council. It's not that we're not engaged and don't want to hear from people, but it might be something really simple that could be handled with a 15-minute phone call.
Could
And-
be handled at the end of the meeting, and now your people that you're paying are able to
But-
get their part done and go on
Those
their way?
people have to sit and wait. So the engineer, if we're paying them by the hour, has to sit here
No, no.
for the
No,
half
he's
hour,
saying at
45
the end of
minutes.
the meeting.
Put the open forum at the end of the meeting.
But that still doesn't help us
But you
answer
can't
the
act
question.
Right, we still can't act on anything. That pushes any action off at least a month.
I get the part that you can't act on it, I get that. I just think you're sending the wrong message by taking away the open forum.
And I would respectfully disagree that our message is we want to be more active and proactive, that if someone has an issue, request to be on the agenda, and we can have this discussion at the next meeting.
I'll circle back to the question I asked about being on the agenda. Who decides who can and cannot be on the agenda?
According
Is
to
there a
the city-
merit test?
According to the city charter, the city clerk sets the agenda. As mayor, I usually have input on what goes on the agenda.
And
Any
we-
counselor can request
can
something to
request
put on the agenda.
Okay.
So it's not set in stone when we start. Anyone can request something to be added to the agenda.
And they can be denied being on the agenda.
They can, if it's not on the published agenda, but that's not unique to a city council. That's often if you have a planned agenda at a public meeting, it's generally not accepted that any one person can just say, ooh, I want to add that to the agenda. It has to be accepted by the body.
Well, I hope you'll vote against it, each of you.
You know, you're talking about the message that we're sending out. The message that goes out right now during these public forums, to me, makes us look very bad. We sit up here knowing what's being said, knowing what's being done, or what we can do, but unable to talk about it. And to me, that makes us look,
An opening statement at the beginning of the open forum, whether it's at the beginning of the meeting or the end of the meeting, reminding everyone, we cannot address anything.
We have.
we do, I
doesn't
think, at
matter.
every one.
In fairness, it's really difficult to sit here if a resident comes with something they're very passionate about.
Yep.
And we go, and we can't say anything in response. And that's difficult. And we're all listening. We've all heard it. We've all wanted to respond, but we have to wait until the following month. This just takes that waiting period away.
Okay.
Thanks for your comment.
Thank you.
Anything else? Anybody else have comment for the public forum? Anyone else? Hearing none, if somebody would like to move to close the public hearing,
So,
motion by Ed, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jenny. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
I
Opposed, same sign.
I'm gonna have to say no on that one. Is that how I say it?
Well, we're just closing the
Aye.
public hearing,
Okay,
so.
sorry. Aye.
All right. Then we move on to new business. Item 6.1 is the ordinance 2025-01. Oh, we have a whole new set of ordinances, don't we? It's a new year.
It's a new year.
City Winthrop rate schedule. This is an action item. Michael, you want to fill us in?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've had a lot of questions about utility rate increases. I hope that everyone has been listening to the news. Xcel Energy is going up 10%, CenterPoint Energy is going up 6%. Our electric rate in Winthrop went up 2.4%.
When?
It'll start in February. because we have to give public notice of 30 days, we started in December. We gave all of January on the old rate, and then February it'll go up. Our base fee did not go up. I will tell you that, so I have Brown County REA. My base fee just to get electric at my house every month is $52. Ours is $5. Just saying, that's a huge difference. Xcel Energy is going up 13% on their base fee. Water is gonna be our most expensive one. Water consistently has not produced when it comes to its bond obligations. The water rate will go up 15%. However, that amount is probably not gonna be seen that much. It's going from 2.5 cents to 3.5 cents on the water rate. Sewer rate remains the same. The one thing that will change about sewer is the base fee. So our sewer funds have actually remained consistent, meaning they've held their debt bond obligation. They'll be going up $1.89 per month. Storm sewer, again, storm sewer is the one that is gonna increase the most. That's the one that we split off of the tax base and put on an enterprise fund this last year on the basis of DDA or financial consultants, making sure that we are paying for our storm sewer correctly. So for instance, in 2025, when they did A Street, that debt bond obligation has actually been paid under our GO obligation for taxes and not under the storm sewer. Current rate for storm sewer is $8.10, and that one will go up $10 to $18.53. And again, that is minimum. That is exactly when we figured our debt obligation between all of our projects and our debt payment for the year. That would be the amount that it would cost to pay that debt down. So, in 2017, when we did the rate study, storm sewer was the one that was criticized the most. Storm sewer in general, just as a reminder, costs probably the most out of all the utilities and has really no revenue recapture. Meaning we don't meter storm sewer, right? We don't charge on a gallon basis. That's why we do a base fee. Our base fee is still lower than like Arlington. It's going to be lower than Gibbon, who's going up. So I just wanted to go over those. Some other things that are gonna change a little bit is in fire and ambulance. We are increasing our fire calls and our ambulance just because, again, there was a shortfall on both services for fire and ambulance this past year yet again. So we are also charging for lift assist when the ambulance is busy and there's a lift assist for the fire. We are going to start charging $200 for that. It's actually happened already within the last couple months a couple times where the ambulance is actually busy. They're on call with another person, and our fire department comes with 10 guys, and unfortunately that costs the city money, right? Fuel, personnel, whatever. So we're going to start charging those residents just $200, not the full fire call fee.
I kind of wanted to clarify because I still remember when I first got on the council and they would talk about enterprise fees versus GO bonds, and I would go,
Yeah.
what? Enterprise bond?
It's complicated.
Yeah, but in essence, the enterprise funds, things like water or electric, should be a self-supporting entity. We shouldn't be taking the general obligation tax dollars to pay for those projects, really, because I mean, you can, but in some ways then if you have someone who uses massive amounts of sewer, the whole city's sort of subsidizing that.
Right, and I always think about the enterprise funds, the service funds it's like a service. Everyone
Yes.
has a cell phone. That cell phone company, their job is to make money. Well, enterprise funds are to make a little bit of money to pay for future developments. And this is just for instance, our water fees going up our water fee is going up from that 2.5 per gallon to 3.5. And, you know, it sounds like a lot, but when you think about, what it all goes into water treatment, there's a lot there. There's a water treatment plant that needs a new filter, that's $400,000. It'll be $500,000 by the time we probably get to it. Our towers constantly need repair, every year they have to get cleaned. Someone has to do testing every single day, even on the weekends. So all of that stuff just costs a lot of money. It's just paying for a service. But it'd be no different if you were on your own. If you had your own well and your well goes bad and you have to get a new well, it's expensive. Sewer fees are kind of the same way, right? So sewer has a lot to it, but you know, we have a pump station that puts it out to our ponds. Those ponds have to be heavily monitored, they're measured, recorded, lab tested. There's a lot to go into wastewater, and when you look at our wastewater permit, we have one of the oldest outstanding permits in the state of Minnesota since 1994. So our permit hasn't been updated since then. As soon as they update our permit and we get a variance, you're gonna see a significant amount of money needing poured into sewer. That's why we're working on the wastewater plant. So these things do cost money. Second Street alone, that was $1 million worth of enterprise funds that we used to buy down the bond debt. So water, sewer, storm, electric, all have their separate funds rather than taxes. So, you know, think of services as you use it and consume it, we charge you, and taxes are like a set rate.
And the other thing I think to keep in mind, I got elected to the council in 2015 was the first year, and we were discussing in 2015 and 2016 if we should incrementally raise our rates. And at that time, we did not. So we stayed here and the cost of that went up and we sort of stayed here. And we haven't even kept up with inflation. So it does feel like we're making a bigger jump now, but we probably should have been doing little increases along the way. So we're sort of hoping to catch up there and sort of balance out now for a while. All right, so we do need action on that.
I got one question for Michael, just to
Yeah.
clarify. Lift assist for ambulance is still no charge, correct?
Correct.
Lift assist and no transports.
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to clarify.
Do you guys charge if you go to a house and there's no transport?
Nope,
Mm-mm.
we do not.
Do other ambulance services do that?
I don't
Do you know?
The only one that I know that does is Commercial Alina.
Okay,
That's the only one that I know that does,
okay.
for sure.
We gotta keep commercial alive.
You love Hartman's ambulance. Okay, someone like to make a motion regarding ordinance 2025-01?
I'll make a motion.
Jenny made a motion, and I assume that's accepting it.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Dawn. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor of adopting the ordinance, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. All right, moving on to 6.2, the resolution adopting updates to Charter 2. So this is the subject of.
From the public open forum.
Yes.
I'll make a
Council, what are your
motion to
wishes?
accept it.
Motion by Ed. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Dawn. Is there discussion? Any discussion about that? You
Yeah,
have something you wanna?
is there any way that we could keep both the open forum and maybe switch it to the end of the meeting, but also have the opportunity for people to call ahead and get on the agenda? You know, while I definitely understand, you know, what you're saying, because it is frustrating sitting sitting in the audience too, or in the public, and, you know, seeing you not being able to respond. You know, I do get that, but I think it's a really important, it's really important for the citizens to know that, you know, if they have something that they can come and air it here. That's just an idea. Maybe both.
Any other discussion? Any other discussion? All right, I will call the question. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
All right, motion carried with Martha dissenting. Moving on to 6.3, MMPA amendment to the agency agreement.
So, MMPA is updating some of their bylaws. I'm gonna give you the nuts and bolts of it, but to tell you that the board of MMPA has already approved it, and they're looking for the council's approval tonight. So voting is going to change a little bit, and it's gonna go by megawatt usage. And so for every megawatt that people use in their city, they will get one additional vote. So we are one of the smallest municipal, us and Brownton. So we'll have our representative vote, and then it's basically a weighted system. So when South St. Paul says, I need more power, and we're building this substation, and MMP is gonna help us pay for it, they would get a few more votes than Winthrop. The only real advantage of this is those that have put more money into it felt like their voices shouldn't be uniform across the board. They've been working on this for a couple years now. I know that Pete Mahayek was working on it with them, and it really came around because there was larger projects, solar fields, wind, that got voted down because some of the smaller players actually didn't even attend the meetings. That's kind of how this all started. So the Olivias, Browntons of the world just were not attending the meetings, and so they couldn't get things passed. So this would give them a vote plus one additional vote for every 500 megawatt hours of energy used by the agencies. So that's what they're just kind of notifying you on. They do ask that you approve it, but their board has already approved it at MAPA.
So we were one of the founding members,
Yep,
correct?
we were.
And the larger members, how large are they? I mean, how many more votes will they get now?
For instance, Shakopee is one of the larger ones. They have a plant there. They'll get 2 additional votes just because they're so large. But like Le Sueur, oddly, Le Sueur and us, because of DFA, and they use a lot of energy, we're almost the same. So even though Le Sueur is much larger than we are, population-wise, we use almost the same amount of megawatt hours. So it's really the Shakopee, South St. Paul, they'll get a few extra votes, so.
Kind of like our taxpayer dollars.
It's the same thing, yes.
Yes. All right, would like to make a motion regarding the MMPA amendment?
So moved.
Motion by Dawn, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jenny. Any discussion? Any discussion?
This is something that we kind of have to approve, right? Because it's something that's
It's already in place,
Yeah.
but at least we can give them our opinion.
Yeah. Any further discussion? I'll call the motion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign?
Aye.
All right. Motion carried with Kelly opposing. 6.4, resolution number 2, the mayoral appointments for 2025. Did everybody have a chance to look at I talked to some of you, I think, well, I was putting together this list. And the admin committee bargaining personnel stays the same, would be Kelly and Dawn. Utilities, infrastructure, and parks is Ed and Dawn. Ambulance is Jenny and Kelly. I would be the GFW liaison. Martha would be on the library board, and MMPA, which is,
Oh, we just voted on.
Yes.
yeah. It's always near and dear to Pete's heart. That's, we'll always kind of have Pete Mahayek in my mind. Michael would be the alternate for that.
Okay.
Kelly's council president. The Winthrop News is our official newspaper. Michael is EDA director, so I'm not gonna read down all of that. Anybody have any questions?
Does cable commission on?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that is on here also. Yeah, that's a little bit further down on the next page.
The UGGW Cable Commission.
Yeah. And we're hoping that some of those committees, you know, for example, administration and personnel, and we were, the same people were meeting, so it just made sense to put those together. And we're hoping that things like utilities sort of slows down after no more Second Street this year. Would someone like to, that's an action item, would someone like to make a motion regarding the appointments?
So moved.
Motion by Kelly, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jenny. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, moving on to 6.5, resolution number 3, approval of city administrator to apply for the DNR grant.
I just wanted to make a note that we did just receive the rural development grant for our radios, so we did get reimbursed. Finally, they went through 3 different agents during our time for the radios for the police department and ambulance, so we finally got reimbursed today.
How much was it?
We were reimbursed $43,000?
$45,211.
So,
And that was very good.
yay,
Help.
so that finally happened.
That's a big money.
The resolution
That's a big number.
for this one is specifically for the DNR. They have you pass it every single year. We're actually going for 2 different grants. One's due in March, excuse me, and the other one's due in April. One's for the trails grant to finish the trail all the way around the park, and the other one is just for restoration of the bathrooms once we get the splash pad done. So that's what the DNR requires.
Motion to allow.
All right, motion by Ed, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Kelly. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? I would just like to say thank you for preparing the grants, and I hope we get it.
Yes, me too.
All right, no further discussion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. 6.6, we're gonna go out for a bid on seal coating the streets.
We have not gone out for bid for more than 5 years. We're just looking to see if our current price negotiation with Pearson Brothers is negotiable and competitive in today's market. So we will go out for bid after this is approved, and then we'll bring it back to city council to yay or nay the bid process.
Okay.
And I wanted to say legally, we don't have to go to bid because it's below the amount. We never spend more than 50,000, but it's still a good idea to find out if we're still have a competitive bid.
So we know how many streets we do every year, they have that on schedule?
Yeah, yards, but we do it by yard. It's usually about 9,000. We would like to do a little bit more this year. So last year on Grant Street, we fixed the large holes that we trenched through to get utilities. We would like the whole thing seal coated and surfaced this year, so it's gonna be a little bit more.
But that is important upkeep on our streets.
Yeah, it's
a
really
good
helped.
investment in, yeah, long-term viability. All right, anybody like to make a motion approving the RFP?
So moved.
I'll second.
All right, Kelly, motion by Kelly, second by Don. Any discussion?
How do you decide who gets the bids? Is there a general?
That'll be up to council, because it's not state required that we even bid it, they don't have to pick the lowest bid, but generally you pick the lowest bid.
And we put it out publicly, so whatever business wants to.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
kind of what I
We
was
publish it
asking,
in the
like-
paper, and then
okay.
we'll have it on our website as
Okay.
well.
Yeah.
And then we always poke a few, just so that we can get 5 or 6 bids.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep,
That's my question.
some of them will not bid, because it's not
It's a
enough
small
work.
project, yeah. All right, any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approval of the RFP, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. 6.7, a work session.
So the date's already changed.
Yes.
So
We talked
the
about that.
20th is a holiday.
I'm saying that.
So we were thinking the 27th at 7, if that's works for everyone.
What is it?
The
January
27th.
Could be the last Monday in January.
And what does a work session kind of entail?
We would have city staff go over some of our goals and kind of plans for the year. And it's a good time for council to be able to kind of, yeah, set some priorities and give some input. And it's just a little more relaxed, you can ask more questions and dig
Yeah,
into
we can't
things.
make any decisions at
Right,
that meeting.
it's
no.
yeah,
Right,
basically
okay.
just
More
a good
informative.
discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
You thinking 7?
I am, the only reason I say that is because Rev meets the same night in Fairfax at 5, so I won't be back here until 6:30.
No, it's fine.
Push it to 7:30 so that I have, get my ambulance meeting done. Right,
We can, yes, 7:30 will be fine.
so work for council.
I can do
So
that.
7:30,
7:30, you said?
On the 27th,
yeah,
27.
27th.
27th.
13th.
No, just the 27th, I think, right?
Just
Just the
the
27th.
27th.
Yeah, we won't need you.
Nix the others.
Um,
Perfect.
I will tell you that the department heads have worked really hard. We've done multiple morning meetings and gone over priorities for 2025, and they just want to share some of them with you.
Okay, I think that would be great.
7:30.
And is it up here in this room?
Yeah.
It'll be here.
That'll be council.
And I just like to say, I sat in on some of those morning meetings, and I think our staff put in a lot of thought and preparation to, you know, ideas and proposals for 2025, so I'm looking forward to see what they have to say. All right, so that was informational only. We're gonna go with the 27th at 7:30.
Yes.
Moving on to 6.8, we have a letter of resignation from Ryan Freilich on the ambulance. So pretty much we're just acknowledging acceptance of
What
that.
if we say no?
Still not gonna do it.
We cannot retire.
He's resigning.
Moving on to 6.9, the library.
Do we have to,
I would approve it.
You want to
Yeah.
approve that? Okay.
It's already approved. Ambulance.
All right, we'll just give it a rubber stamp. Would somebody like to make a motion accepting Ryan's letter of
With
resignation?
regret.
I would agree. So, motion by Ed with regret. Is there a second?
second?
Second by Kelly. Any discussion? Any discussion? I would just like to thank Ryan for
Yeah.
years of service, obviously. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Okay, 6.9, library.
Oh, you want me? Okay.
Yeah,
So, I got the RS Fiber bill, and we are paying $78 to $80 a month for the library phone that gets maybe 2 to 3 calls a week. Whereas on Verizon, it would cost us $25 a month if we put it in with all of our other phones. We're also getting charged long distance, so anytime they call to say that there's a book still out, if it's a person that's long distance, we're getting charged for that. So
Why would we not?
Yeah.
if we port them over, I have to make sure that they can port the number to our existing bill that we have going on. I don't see that being an issue. But spending $78 a month on a phone that's hardly used seems kind of excessive.
I would say if they can port it over,
It
that we
just-
need to do that.
Will that go to someone's cell phone or what?
No, it would be an actual desk phone.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen in my office, the desk phone that sits on my desk, same phone.
Okay.
So the library though doesn't pay for their internet service, do they? That's provided through the regional library system, I
I
think?
believe that one's through TDS. We
Yeah.
pay for
That's
the
what I thought.
phone, they pay
Okay,
for,
I thought maybe the phone was wrapped in that, but it's not.
it's not.
Okay. Do you want action from the council on that?
No, we'll bring it back to you.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for being on top of that. Moving on to 6.10.
So ambulance currently bills with Expert T billing. They've gone through some staff changes and just some difficulties. They are now in some legal disputes with a few cities that they served. We have had multiple problems with Expert T billing in the 3 years that I've been here. It is our recommendation, and we'll bring this back to council next month, we just wanted to put you on notice. We're really trying to figure out if we can bring billing in-house, or if we find an additional company. We have one from North Dakota that it seems like a few cities jump to, and they're liking the experience. Expert T, again, we've just had a lot of problems with communication and them updating, them even billing us as a city has been difficult. So it's, 1 month it'll be like $900 and the next month it'll be $100 because they didn't bill anyone. They're also not very good at doing claims, and it's something that we've definitely worked on. I will tell you that there are very few billing companies left that wanna do this. And that's why they still have a number of cities in Minnesota, so. So we'll bring it back to council, kind of a brief overview of what it costs us every year, what it would cost to bring it in-house, how much it would save us if we brought it in-house. But there is gonna be a change there. Whether we like it or not, there's gonna be a change, so I just wanted to make you aware.
Do you think it's possible you might have some of that information by the work session?
It might, if you got a couple quotes back already, I started working on it today.
Okay.
We also found out that they were supposed to be doing our collections, and for the last year they have not, so I have kind of a mess to deal with there.
I think that's been kind of an ongoing thing. Expert T, I think it's been sort of a,
Just helping residents get their bill fixed, saying they paid, the check is cashed, we have the copy of it, please stop billing them,
oh dear.
We've
has
had
been
numerous-
difficult. We've had numerous, and we've had conference call and emails, and
They came here.
they came
And I
here,
still have 0 things from that meeting, and it was a month ago.
yeah.
Thank you for.
So what do they get paid for doing this?
$29 a call,
I
29
think so, yeah.
From us?
from
Plus
us.
a $2 stipend for their fee,
It's,
so technically 31 a call.
it's kind of expensive. I mean, you look at 278 calls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Gets expensive. And now we're equipped, we didn't have billing before, and we do have that in our software now. So, we're gonna look at it always.
Good. I'll be looking forward to hearing what you find out. Okay, then we can move on to committees. Michael, we have from us for the EDA admin.
Yeah, so on Friday, we'll be speaking in front of 400 different legislators and congressional delegates and the governor at the DNR roundtable. We were one of 3 communities to participate. We went over our PowerPoint presentations for an hour today in practice, so that was fun.
Is there any chance it's live streamed or anything?
I don't know about that, but I'll find out.
Okay, let us know
Yeah.
if it is.
So, obviously, we're sharing our streams project, that's our wastewater project. We've been teaming up with 4 other cities, Gibbon, Lafayette, ourselves, New Auburn, and our 2 industry partners here, DFA and Heartland Corn Products. The 6 of us are really trying to solve wastewater, but also get water reuse at the end of it, meaning there's not an abundance of water in our area to begin with, and we know we have heavy users. Our facility would recycle about 500,000 gallons of water every single day. That could be then turned into ethanol or pumped back into the aquifer. There's a lot we can do with it. One plant is actually shipping it to California for irrigation. So they're making money off water in a train to irrigate California. So we get to present on that. Streams, it's going well. You know, there's just gonna be, there's another council that is doing this very same project, well, very similar project in Iowa, and it took them 20 years to get there. So don't feel like we're behind. Right now, we're really trying to figure out rates. You know, one of the big hurdles on this is how much grant money are we gonna get? And how much debt load do we already have in each city? And how much is that going to impact our rates? And so when you look at the 4 towns, all 4 of us have different rate structures. We all have different debt obligations. So we're really trying to figure all of that out. We break into small groups, but then we are having monthly meetings with the streams group as well. As far as EDA, we reported last month that we funded over $100,000 in different business projects, upgrades, facade grants, and technology grants, and that was in the paper. On the back page, it was a really good representation of what the EDA has been really working on. The Southern Minnesota Initiative Foundation in April will be holding a Sprout event in Henderson. I will make sure that you guys get invites. We're presenting our Rev group at that event that will take place in April. And
How's
that's
the Rev group doing? They got it.
good.
planned.
We took December off, and now we're hitting January hard because we have to finish out of our grant obligation. We really have to finish finalizing the job code for the person, the part-timer that we're gonna hire between the 3 cities. We have to get that done by the end of February, so that's what we're gonna hit pretty hard.
Good. All right, any questions for Michael about that? All right, fire department, Adam, what you got for us?
Well, I just wanted to give a recap of '24 for everybody. We ended up with 36 calls last year, 19 fires, 1 dust explosion, 8 between rescue medical incidents, 2 gas leaks, and 2 cancel in or out, and 4 sprinkler CO detector detections or false alarms, malfunctions, whatever. So I think we figured it out. We were up 10 calls from last year, the previous year. So we're not going down, we're going up. And last year we didn't have a whole lot of snow, so yeah, so it's not a good way we're going, but that's the way we see it going. Other things that are happening, I just got an email today that our training board has an adjustment on our per firefighter rate. They knocked us down to 258 from 265. And the way I read it, it's just a matter of they have to delegate some of the money to cover last year's training expenses. So that means a lot of more departments are using it in the state, which is good. Otherwise, they're gonna take it away. And I think everything we've billed is always gotten paid for, even above and beyond our money. So they say just keep sending it, and if they run out of money, they'll tell us. So it's good. Starting Thursday here, we got 3 of us going through the EMR that the ambulance is putting on. So
That's gonna be up here?
yep.
Thank you.
And then as everybody probably seen in the paper, we had 2 more retire. So we are down 4, which sad to see all 4 of them go, but, you know, as the paper had very good articles for all of them.
They did a
And,
really nice job on that.
it
That
was,
a lot of years of service.
102 years of service between all 4 of them, so, yeah, I mean, it was a big hit for us, but we have, pretty confident we have a lot of young kids, guys coming in that are gonna be ready to take their spot, so. We still have one going through fire school now. I haven't talked to him as of late, but I'll probably talk to him tonight or tomorrow night at practice and see how things are going. Last time I talked to him, things were going good. It's just an adjustment, a lot to take in, cause he's new. He hasn't been in the fire service before, so
How long does it take them to go through that?
it's 140 hours.
And when do they do that?
They're doing everything on Zoom. So since COVID, they switched to Zoom. They go 2 nights a week. I believe he's going Mondays and Wednesdays. And then 1 week in a month, he goes to, I think the last time he went to Glencoe, they have a in-person. So they grab gear, air pack, and go up there and get everybody together. But otherwise, everything's done Zoom. Up at Chiefs last year, I talked to quite a few departments. There's probably 8, 10 departments that are going away from that. They wanna go back to in-person, just because I guess firefighters are more hands-on, so everybody likes to put gear on and that, so. Those are south, I guess, for the Nicola County is start of it, and then down in Blue Earth County is the other ones that are doing it, but
So if someone wants to become a fireman, how long does it take before they would actually?
so this gentleman started in November, and he won't be done until May.
Can he come with on any runs or?
He comes with right now, but he doesn't go interior. He
Okay.
just rides a truck. We tell him to go on traffic for an accident, any fires, we tell him to ride the tanker, learn those positions. He doesn't drive, he doesn't, go interior, like I said. We do get him, I know last fall, when you had some training companies come in, they allowed him to put a pack on and go in the trailer with live fire. Obviously, just some straw bales or pallets on fire, but with an instructor, so it got him a little taste of it.
Is this required training through the state?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, it's firefighter 1, firefighter 2, and hazmat.
Okay, good.
So if you had 4 retire, Adam, what's your count, or what do you like it to be?
Well, I'd like it to be 30, what we can hold max, but,
How many do you have down?
we're down to 23,
23.
so. Yeah, otherwise, that's all I have. Nothing expenditure-wise that's coming up that I can think of, so we're good on that.
It's nice to hear
Yeah.
that there are new, younger people coming in too, because I happen to know that even the old guys who retired were new and young
Yep.
and inexperienced at one point in time too.
Yeah, yep,
Okay,
thank you.
Thanks, Adam.
thank you.
All right, library, that's your name after, but,
Sorry, I just updated those.
right, that's okay.
What's going on?
Good.
I've heard they're excited to have me on the board, so
Good.
that's,
I know.
that's
I
a
agree.
good thing.
Nice to have
Yeah.
somebody who is passionate about the library, and I know
About
that
the
you are,
library, Yes.
so that's good. Public Works, Troy's not here, do you have anything for us, Michael?
Only that they have been, really cleaning up some of the maintenance in the shops areas. They've been doing a really good job making sure that, you know, we're not ordering double tools. If we have it, now we know we have it. They reorganized from Second Street. We kinda had some leftover like conduit, electric wires, that kind of stuff. It all got reorganized, so we know exactly the inventory that we have. And I'll just take some from utilities now, but, we also are in the process of ordering the new transformers. You'll hear more about that during the work session, but there's some transformers in the city that need to get switched out. The Catholic Church is one of them, Hunnell Bees is another, UFC needs a new basement, so you'll hear about that on the 27th, but they are gonna start ordering them, cause it does take quite a while.
Do we keep some on hand?
We do, yep, we do keep an emergency amount, just in case something does happen. The lowdown about, the transformers are, some of the parts are coming from China. And if they do, yeah, so there might be another shortage coming, so we really wanted to get our order in as soon as we could, before price hikes start and that kind of stuff, so. Well, we did order some last year and it took 36 weeks just to get them. So, they're talking, like it was 2 years ago, another year before you'll see the transformers, so we just have to keep on top of it.
And since you're on it, anything else on utilities?
No, I don't believe so.
Check that one off. Planning commission, that's also you. Planning commission met?
Are we meeting
We meet on
next week?
next
Yeah.
week,
Okay.
next
So,
Thursday.
Next
Nothing to
Thursday.
report at this point. Ours Fiber, also nothing to report, we have not met since our last meeting. Ambulance. Ed, got anything for us?
So we finished our calendar year at 278 calls, which is up about, I'd say an average of 40 calls roughly. So we usually run about 230, 220, 230, so it was up quite a bit. We did purchase a new stair chair for the backup ambulance. It's a powered stair chair. Again, none of us are getting younger, so we're trying to move more things to powered equipment to get it easier. Both trucks will now be identically stocked. Both trucks have 12 leads, which I just learned is unusual for the backup ambulances to have a 12 lead. Both trucks have powered stair chairs. Both trucks will have, what was the other big thing that I was thinking of? Oh yeah, the power cots. Although I'd like to upgrade the one in the backup ambulance, but that's very costly. We do have, this is the good news part of it, we have 10 candidates from Winthrop that will be taking the EMT
10
class.
from Winthrop?
10 from Winthrop.
How many are
Two of them or three of them are Bridge.
How many?
2 for Winthrop are doing Bridge, there's a third from Gaylord, who is also a part-time police officer here, that will be doing the Bridge CMT class, so that could be useful. I think there's a total of between 20 and 25 people taking
the entire class.
at this
That
point
is
from neighboring
fantastic.
So
communities.
Pretty awesome.
that's huge for our communities.
Can you explain
surrounding
what Bridge
communities.
is? So
What's
we
that?
know. Can you explain
Yeah.
what Bridge is?
Bridge,
The bridge.
okay, so a bridge, we've got EMRs out there, emergency medical responders, and then you've got EMTs, and
And the difference?
the difference between the two is the EMT can give the little bit of meds that we can give, we can do the 12 leads, we can do certain
What
things
is a
that.
12 leads?
12 lead is an EKG, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Kelly.
Yeah.
A 12 leads an EKG, and our EKG machine interprets it for us, so they'll all say unconfirmed because the doctor has to confirm what it reads, but like, we'll get one that says unconfirmed ST elevation, which is a heart attack. And, you know, it just gives us a bit of advantage to know that, hey, we could use ALS for this call. If they're not available, we can drive reasonably and get us there safely but quickly.
So you had EMRs.
So EMR, a bridge class goes from EMR to EMT. So basically what they do is when they do the EMR stuff, they've got basic first aid. And when they go to EMT, they get an advanced first aid, plus all of the operations, plus all of the testing, and then the
But the
certificate
class is
in
all
the end.
together.
The class is all together, yep, yep. We have,
I got the list.
I'm trying to think of the number of hours, it's 220 20-something now, isn't it, for hours for the class?
It is.
It's about 18 or 19 weeks long.
Yeah.
The EMR, so it's actually a hybrid, which is actually kind of cool for everybody. So the first 9 weeks is all in person up here. So we'll set this up every Wednesday night. That'd be really great. Every Wednesday night, and then they'll do their psychomotor skills, which is a physical exam and practice and kind of the hands-on learning. Because the first thing you'll get your CPR AHA certified. And then they can start doing ride-alongs with the service once they have their CPR card. But then they'll go through all airways and trauma situations, medical situations, and then once that's all done, the EMRs are complete. They can get their EMR licenses, which is what Adam and the fire gentlemen will all have. And then the EMTs will Zoom. We Zoom to the second half of the class. And then you go through, it's called FISDAP. I don't know what it all stands for, but it's basically the practice test for the National Registry. And then you'll go through your strengths and your weaknesses. You have your instructor there to go through with you. And just kind of practice situations too, which is a big advantage. And Ridgewater does an awesome, awesome job. So we're excited to partner with them.
And Sam took the class just last year.
Yeah.
Just last year.
I
So,
started about a year and a half ago, yeah.
yeah,
already.
so she's the one that actually worked with Ridgewater to get the class set up in town for us. So,
Yes,
um,
volunteered.
and one of the other things that I wanted to bring out is there's 7 or 8 of our candidates that are youth members, so they're under 18 years old. So that is huge.
That's awesome.
We've been working on our youth, and now with the state of Minnesota changing the rules and regulations, they can be full EMTs, and they can run on a crew.
At what age?
16.
Yeah.
Is there a requirement on who is in the ambulance as far as an EMT or an EMR? I mean, do you have to have one EMT?
Yes, so
Statutory.
right now, we're running on a variance, where we can run one EMR and one EMT. The new law allows us to, let's say that I find somebody on the street that I think is wise enough to drive my ambulance. If it's an emergency situation, I can pick them off the street and give them instructions on how to drive it. Yeah, now, that would never happen.
But I'm surprised the law allows
I would
it.
I'd call the fire department and say, I need a driver.
So I have a question with the classes, is there you said there's physical things that they have to be able to do. Are there like mental tests that you can handle, like the trauma of an accident? Because I'm just thinking of like a 16-year-old being, going
Yeah.
to a horrific car accident.
Correct, yep.
Like, do they have to is there a way to make sure that they'll be able to handle that, or?
So, before they take the class, every one of them are interviewed by our executive committee, which is myself, Kristen McHugh, Carrie Panensky, and sometimes Sam sits in on those. Gets them, we get a good feeling on who they are and if they can handle it or not. And honestly, somebody is not gonna come to me and say they wanna take an EMT class if they can't handle it. Post-class, if there's a situation that comes up that they need, let's say they have, some post-traumatic stress or something like that, we have in place, through South Central EMS, we have CISM, which is a critical incident stress management team, that they will come out and bring out to us. Plus, the city pays for a mental health service for us. So there are lots and lots of resources, plus everybody that's on the crew. If there's a critical incident, if there's something that's out there that happens, say we've got a car accident and a 10-year-old kid dies in it, I'm gonna call, me personally, I'm gonna call every person on that crew and evaluate how they're doing and what they're feeling. And if I feel like that we need to have a critical incident stress debriefing, then I will call that. You don't have to attend it, but I'll call it so it's available. And then I'll repass out all of all the information for the online mental health stuff that the city takes care of for us.
That was a good question, and whether you're 16 or 60, have you ever had someone that has gone through the classes and the first time they came across something like that quit? I mean,
Yeah, they said, no, that's not for me, or, you know, I thought I could handle it and I can't.
I have not, I
I've never
guess.
heard of anything. That's
Not
yeah.
from the fire department.
I've never-
I mean, I think this is like, it was when Scott was early on, and the guy went through the whole training, and the first time in a live fire, he was like, can't do it, and he was done, that was the end of it. But, you know, I think it is pretty rare, if you
Yeah.
feel that you might be willing to do that, I think.
I don't
that-
remember anybody ever.
Yeah, I mean, Jenny was on for a
20.
number of years, 20
Yeah.
years too, so, she was the captain for a
But
number of
people
years.
wanna, I mean, they wanna serve, and
Yeah.
they've thought about it before they,
Yeah,
and as far as a critical incident, if something happens, we've trained dispatchers for 6 months, and they go by themselves and say, no, I can't do this. It's up to
yeah,
each individual.
Yeah.
yeah. It's a tough job and it's not for everyone.
Oh,
you know?
I
mean,
definitely
you-
believe that.
You've gotta be a little mental.
Why do you look at me? Just 'cause you have a bright
for
jacket over
confirmation.
I think Winthrop's in a great, we're doing great with our fire department ambulance.
Yes, yeah.
I'm so proud of our community.
We have to
that
be
there's-
thankful for
And
that.
that there's young kids doing it, I think that just
Yeah.
really says a lot about the
You know,
young people. in our
and one of our
community.
bridge candidates, one of the ones that's going from EMR to EMT, has recently moved to the area within the last year. And that person has, I mean, we kind of drug her choking and screaming, no, not really. But she has, you know, she came to us and said, hey, I want to do this, I want to be with you guys. So it's, you know, we are blessed in the city, and as long as I can keep it up, I'm gonna keep it up.
Who's Brandon Brooks? Brandon Brooks?
He's fire. He has an EMR going to,
Yep.
Nice.
He's on your fire department.
Yeah, he came from Henderson.
Okay.
Very big thank you to
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the ambulance crew and everybody who organized the class. Okay, police, Logan is not here, is he still on paternity leave?
no, he
He's
actually is back from
Okay.
that. They were at a training, conference for South Central.
I just want to
Police.
say congratulations to our
Heather
police
knows
chief,
everything.
Logan Anderson, he and his wife have a little baby girl.
They have a little boy.
2 boys.
They have 2 boys and a girl.
Yep. He said his job was wrangling the 2 boys after Nyla came home, so he was really exhausted and happy to come back to work.
I will say one thing for Logan, they do pick up the new canine unit tomorrow.
Oh,
So, he won't be public view for a little while, they have to get acquainted, but Nick goes and picks him up tomorrow. And then they go train in April, March, April.
And Nick is the one that's gonna be the handler for him?
Yes, he's already DRE trained, drug recognition enforcement
expert.
expert trained, so he's DRE trained.
So how is the dog right now?
His age is,
But I mean, he hasn't been trained whatsoever.
so the dogs are imprinted, they're marked, and then it's really, when they go to training, they're actually training the officer. They're not really training the dog. They're training the officer on how to recognize the signals that the dog is giving them. Almost 90% of that course is actually for the trainer. The dog's ready to go. He already knows what the drugs that they're looking for smell like. They already have marked him.
So you said in May they would start,
Yes, I think end of May, beginning of June, he would be on the road again. And he'll come back. That training is like 4 weeks there, 1 week back, trying to implement the skill sets, and then they go back again.
good.
We have our K-9 car all ready to go.
It's ready to go, radio and everything.
Do we know what the dog's name is?
No, I don't.
Okay. Just curious.
Gus.
It's not Gus.
Okay,
Gus.
Cable Commission also has Martha's name after it.
Jake,
But
were you at Cable Commission this
We haven't had one for a while.
Yeah,
Last one we
it's
had
been a
was, I
long
think,
time.
October, September.
So I'm not the only one on the committee.
No.
I was
there's
on
two
it, but we
people,
just had,
right.
we just had one. It's been a while.
So usually there's one council person and then a resident, so Scott's been on it.
Okay.
And you'll
So
be-
you're the only council person?
Yes.
Okay, and how do I find out about like,
When they meet?
yeah,
Email you, I would assume, or call, I think they have the information.
I sent it to-
Yeah.
Yeah, to
So
Wade.
Wade Warner
Wade.
is the.
Wade will
Oh,
usually
okay.
touch with
calls
it.
them
It's usually the
meetings
third
and-
Wednesday at 5.
Yes.
Yes.
I just give him a call.
Yeah,
Wade
we'll
Warner.
make sure he's got your
Okay.
information.
perfect, thank you.
All right, and last is park committee.
The last meeting that
Oh.
they had, they picked out colors for the splash pad.
Yes, we did.
They looked at some of the drawings for the trails. And I think the next meeting for parks, we'll probably look more extensively at what that next step is. You know, we've kind of done the planning for splash pad and the construction and stuff, so.
So
The
we
next
established what we're doing this year. and
Yes,
now
what are we
we'll
gonna
have to
do
Start sort of
5 years from now.
plan, yes.
Yep.
Planning for the future. All right, anything else? Any questions about committee updates, anything?
Okay.
Otherwise, if someone would like to move to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Jenny, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dawn. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried, we are adjourned.